This album is demented, intense, twisted, unnerving, uncomfortable, but ultimately brilliant. Alright, numbers 31 through 35 of my top 100 albums of all time. If you're new to this series, in the description I have all the previous episodes and the description of this challenge showing you what I'm doing. But let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about 5 more essential albums that you should own. If you haven't already, it'd be awesome if you'd like this video, hit the red subscribe button, and turn your bell notifications on so you don't miss out on any weekly videos I put out. Number 35, Boys Like Girls, Boys Like Girls. I can't explain why I love this record so much. I don't really like anything else this band has ever done. That being said, this album is a 10 out of 10. I think a lot of it has to do with nostalgia. I did listen to it quite a bit in high school. Every time I revisit it, as recently as a week ago, I find myself loving it just as much as I did the first time I heard it. Youthful laments about girls and growing up are wrapped up in these tidy, catchy little song packages. Extremely well-produced song packages, I might add. They feel unique from one another, and they either make you want to dance or they make you want to cry. You'll probably recognize the big single from this. It's called The Great Escape, but honestly, every single track on this is just as good as that. It's definitely a little whiny at times, but it's not annoyingly so, and it hits you in all the right feels in the right way. I wish the rest of their catalog was this perfect. Sadly, it is not. This is the true definition of lightning in a bottle. Or should I say thunder in a bottle. If you know the album, you get. Never mind. This was never pressed on vinyl when I first got into records. I was really upset about it, but it got rectified a few years ago, and what it lacks in a actual sturdy jacket, it makes up for it in this really cool tricolor swirl that matches the front cover so perfectly. This variant, chef's kiss. Number 34, Pink Floyd, Animals. This is one of the oldest albums on the list for sure, but this is the magnum opus of Pink Floyd in my opinion. If you guys watch this channel, you know I've talked about this album quite a bit. Many will disagree and argue that The Wall, Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, any of those could be the best thing they've ever done, and that right there is what cements Pink Floyd as an absolutely legendary band. For me, Animals checks all the boxes. Floaty, spacey melodies with epic, sprawling guitar lines, desperate, piercing vocals, cutting directly through the fabric of society. Pink Floyd is undeniably a politically charged band, but you don't need to be into politics to appreciate the music. This album is only 5 tracks, and yet it is 42 minutes long. These Odyssey-level musical journey compositions are among the greatest I have ever heard. Despite them being very long, they all for some reason still feel too short. I have a few versions of this record. I love this Japanese press with the really cool green obi strip. Another one of my favorites is this plain pig pink cover and a plain pig pink inner sleeve, and of course that pig pink variant. But I will say, you don't have to spend a fortune to get a version of this album that sounds amazing. The 2016 remaster is affordable, and it's one of the best sounding remasters I've ever heard of a classic record, so I recommend picking it up if you see it. Number 33, Frank Ocean, Channel Orange. I know, everyone loves Blonde. It's an anthem for the generation below me. My anthem, however, was Channel Orange. I was just out of college when Thinking About You graced the airwaves. I was captivated by Frank's remarkable, powerful singing as he vocally danced between gravelly crooning and piercing falsetto. The man has a gift, folks. Obviously intrigued, I went to listen to the rest of the album, and I was justifiably blown to smithereens. His hip-hop inspired take of R&B and soul music was fresh, buttery, and extremely poignant. The themes that this album actually covers are beyond comprehension. I actually recently listened to a podcast by Dissect that talked about this album, in particular the song Pyramids, the 11-minute opus that sits directly in the center of the album. I had no idea what that song was really about until I listened to that, and it blew my mind. Frank is a genius, but not smart enough to release this properly on vinyl. Blonde had an official release, and if you missed it, like me, you're kicking yourself every day about that. But Channel Orange, all we have is a bootleg, which is on this kind of pinkish color. Still trying to track down an orange version. If I'm not going to have a real one, I might as well at least have an orange Channel Orange, right? I hope that we get a pressing that does this album justice very soon. Number 32, Lil Ugly Mane, Oblivion Access. This album is demented, intense, twisted, unnerving, uncomfortable, but ultimately brilliant. He completely switched his style up from the underground critical darling Mr. Thug Isolation. Oblivion Access has Travis, the man behind the project, looking inward in the most world-shatteringly anxious and self-deprecating way. Riddled with depression and fear and disgust of the world around him, Travis rattles off some of the most intriguing bars I've ever heard a rapper rap. Some of the beats on this album are downright lush and like baths for your ears, and some of them are a little tough to listen to, inspired by Travis's penchant for noise music, which is where he started his career before finding his rap side. This album is a journey through the inner working of a tortured genius's mind, and when you come out of the other side of that tunnel, you will truly have accessed Oblivion. This came on gray vinyl, which matches the mood of the album quite nicely, but it came in the R.I.P. Lil Ugly Mane box set that I was lucky enough to get, and if you can tell, I was lucky enough to have him sign it at a gig. This is one of my most prized possessions now. And number 31, The National, I Am Easy to Find. This is the most recent album to be released to be on this list, and some of you guys might be shocked to see it this high. All my adult life, I don't think I've bonded with an album as hard and intensely as I have with this. There are some personal reasons why I love this album. It reminds me of very special moments in my life. But aside from that, this is the product of a band that has continued to hone and perfect their craft over 2 decades and finally released this polished gemstone to the world. More confident and controlled than ever before, I Am Easy to Find gives way for a lot of female vocalists to either take the lead or join in with Matt's beautiful baritone crooning, adding a texture to their musical style that they haven't really experimented with heavily before. While some fans could not get into this, and I can understand, this to me transformed the band into something beyond the expected and shot them into new territory that gave me a lot of hope for where they might go after this. I have just about every version of this album. I have the 3-disc colored pressing, that's the deluxe version. I have the Cherry Tree Fan Club version, but my favorite now has to be the clear version that I was able to get a signed copy of. Very special to me. Alright guys, another 5 in the can. Let's keep this train rolling. I have a lot more albums as we're speeding towards number 1. It's just gonna keep getting better and better and better. So get your ears ready, get your eyes ready to watch some more videos, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on anything I put out. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.